Welcome to another ride-along session with me, and today's session is all about power. We've got power in the rig, but how do I control it? And most importantly, how do I channel what I've got in the rig down and into the board to make me accelerate, get planing quicker, and hopefully have a bit more control of what's in the sail. So there's three things we have to do to get the power from the rig into the board and to accelerate. You need to pull the sail in, you need to pull the sail back, and we need to pull the sail down. But what we're going to run through just now is the order we do these in is what I mean by sheeting out so that you can then sheet in. Because if I slow down and stand up a little bit here, the obvious one for power that we learn as beginners is pulling the sail in or out. In gives me some power, letting the sail out slows me down. Sure, that's a given. However, when I'm standing very upright here, and I've got the power, but I'm still trying to pull it in, all that happens is we risk getting catapulted out the front or battering off downwind with very little control. So instead of pulling the sail in, back and down, as it's most commonly taught, let's try and go back and out at the same time as down. And we're going to change that word down to out. I mean leaning away from the board, making sure my hips and my shoulders and my head are to windward of the board. So I'm getting out. Now I can get down. And once I'm in that nice low down stance, I can then start thinking about pulling the sail in a bit. So it's out, back and down first, then try and power the sail up using a combination of your front hand pushing and your back hand pulling. It's almost the same for the entrance of a jibe. Think about this on the other side then, slowing right down out to the front foot strap for a moment. I definitely have wind in the sail. While I'm saying this, I'll explain. I'm on a 90-litre freestyle wave, a 4.7 Vogue, and it's blowing 20-something knots right now. I'm definitely powered up. I've got wind in my sails. I can go as fast as I like. Starting upwind, I know I've got some wind, but I've depowered for a moment. You could go harness and foot straps first if you like, or you could stay out of them both, or you could do one or the other. Any combination, to be honest, for the moment's fine. The key thing I'm trying to do is get my shoulders, my head and my hips out, back and to windward of the kit. As I do that, I can then start to squeeze in with the sail, and the power that I've got then drives me forwards, as you just saw. The same thing in the front foot, getting my shoulders and my hips out and back. Now I start to squeeze in a little bit. Once again, the board starts to accelerate. Same thing again in the harness. Upwind, out and back, almost like I'm falling in. Let's try that one, I've got a bit more power. Out and back, sheeted out, then a little punch of power and a little push through that front foot will accelerate me. Back up wind, back foot strap. Those key points again, and this is where I want to keep what could be quite complicated. I want to keep it simple. Three things you have to do with the sail. We need to get out. We need to start to get back. As we do that, we can start to get down, and then the board will accelerate. Back up wind, if I'm not already hooked in, allows me to do that. sheet out first, not just try and pull on the power and then try and do this move. You already have power, you can't get out and back. The same thing is how you enter a jive. Getting out and back first allows me to then bear away into what could be a jive. As I come back upwind, very similar happens to enter attack. I want to go upwind and into that tack. If I just crank on the power, it just pulls me upright. I can't really change direction very easily. Sheet out and depower first allows me to change direction and come upwind hard. In our heads, we're thinking it's attack. I need to sheet in, but sheet out so you can sheet in. Let's depower just for a moment with a slight bend of the front arm, allowing you to change direction fairly drastically. I think you can see that from some bubbles behind me. I'll do that again. Across the wind right now, I'm thinking I want to go for attack. Got some space, sheet out a little bit, allows me to head upwind, and then I can keep the power on. Let's do that again, across the wind. I want to go for attack, I'm thinking about it. I've got some space, sheet out a little bit, start to head upwind, then keep the power back on. Slowed me down, but I've still got the power. And then if I wanted to, front hand to the mast and up and around a turn. Sheet out first so that you can drop out and back down here. Then I can think about sheeting in, and it's exactly the same as I go for a little speed run just here. This is now downwind of broad. I'll phrase that again. Downwind of beam, not as far as broad. The only way I can get so far back and control this speed and power is by sheeting out first, upwind. Let's do that again. Heading upwind. Sheet it out a little bit to do that. Just coming past one of the safety boats. Get down to the water. I've sheeted out for a moment first. Now I'm low and back. I can drive the board forwards up to some speed. And if I wanted to, around a cheeky jive. This is an interesting point to make. Just in front of me, this guy is on the same size sail as me. He's standing vertical. You see how upright he is? He's not out and back. That's the reason that he's not accelerating at all. And I've just gone flying past him.
What he's actually doing is only pulling down through the harness, creating the harness to pull up towards his chin, creating loads of mast foot pressure, but not actually channeling the power forwards and up to speed like I am as I go bouncing past him. While I'm looking at some fault analysis on the guy that we just saw on the last clip, I thought I'd throw in this nice drone shot from a few weeks ago. And what you'll see in a moment or two is that the windsurfer here, she's got enough power in her sail in a moment to get going. She's definitely pulling the sail in, and she's definitely pulling the sail down, and as such the board starts to accelerate. But she's now stuck in this position, inboard and central on the board, going across or even slightly downwind and unable to move. You'll see in a moment the harness is pulled right up by her chin. Loads of mast foot pressure, but it's not helping at all. So the same tips for this girl as it was with our last guy. Sheet out first, allow yourself to get further back and further out from the sail and from the board. Then you can start to pull the sail down and power up.
Upwind, I have some power, but I'm not really going. Out and back, get low, then put the power on. Out, back, this is me down, drive the board forwards from the front foot, and you can see the front hand is pushing, and that's giving me that speed, sending me off into the distance. Nice. That'll do for today. It's picking up still, so it might be time for me to change down to a 4 metre, I think now, possibly a smaller board. So thanks for joining me. As always, thank you for subscribing, sticking with the channel, and sharing this. I've had a lot of comments recently about people sharing this amongst their friends and groups and windsurfing communities, so I appreciate your support, that, from everyone. And I'll see you next time.